Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. The Russians claim that they surrounded the Ukrainian troops in Bakhmut, Artemovsk, and they tell us the Ukrainian troops' condition, the number, and their position. This article comes from Russia Today, so just be mindful and be paying attention to the title. In this case, we'll start with the title, which says breakdown. What is known about the surrounded Ukrainian troops in Artemovsk, which is the Russian for Bakhmut. Surrounded troops. So they're surrounded. This is not might, could, have been, baba boo, baba bam. According to the Russians. This is from Russia Today. It is from 14th of April 2023. How the operation is developing and what to expect next. I can tell you without saying that they will be surrounded eventually if they're not already, and then they will surrender, or how they like to put it, they will come out to save lives after they accomplish their mission. The same as in Mariupol. By mid-April, the Ukrainian military group had been almost completely blocked in the west part of Artemovsk. So by mid-April, we are in mid-April, the Ukrainian military group had been almost completely blocked in the western part of Bakhmut. Wagner PMC handed the north and southern flanks over to the Russian forces and focused on clearing out city blocks. How many troops does Ukraine have left in the city? According to RT's sources, only 4 to 7 battalions of Ukraine's 93rd Mechanized and 77th Air Mobile Brigades can be located inside the city to the west of Artemovsk railway line. Due to combat losses as well as a shortage of medicine and ammunition, the actual number of soldiers in these units is significantly lower than usual, amounting to about 200 to 300 per battalion. There are also 3 to 5 battalions of the 125th Territorial Defense Brigade and 4 or 5 battalions of the 241st Territorial Defense Brigade to the west of the railway line. Taking into the account foreign mercenaries, such a thing as that? No. Ukrainian National Guard units, territorial defense forces and military units, the total number of Ukrainian troops occupying the city might be slightly over 6,000. The remaining forces, numbering about 30,000, are either dispersed in nearby suburbs, Kromov, Krasnoye, I'm guessing, Stupochki, Bogdanovka and Minkovka, or have withdrawn from Artemovsk to the neighborhood town of Shasor Yar or Shasir Yar by the Ukrainians, which is west of Bakhmut, for resupply and rearmament, and cannot be quickly thrown into a counterattack due to heavy losses and lack of equipment. What is happening inside Artemovsk? Well, you can guess. The timing of the destruction of the Ukrainian group, which actually hemmed into western district of the city, directly depends on which tasks are assigned to Wagner PMC and the Russian Armed Forces units operating on the flanks. At the moment, 9,000 to 11,000 of Kiev's troops are killed on Artemovsk per month due to the battling of Ukrainian troops inside the city and nearby suburbs. I listened, I think, yesterday to, I think it was, Tucker Carlson, and he claimed that the ratio of military losses, personal losses between the Russians and the Ukrainians, I think he said, is 1 to 7. So for each Russian killed, 7 Ukrainian died. That's according, I think he used the information provided by the new Pentagon leaks, and that's what he said. Now, that's very, very unusual, given that usually, or as a rule, the defending forces usually lose 1 per at least three attackers. If, that's the key point, if the weapons, the arms are comparable, symmetric, kind of, you know what I mean? So there's not like one stays with swords and the other one goes with automatic weapons. Then it's not going to be 1 to 3, it's going to be 1 to 7 to 1. So anyway, or maybe even more. So let's go back to these guys and see what they say. So we finished this thing. This was, let's see. This has compelled the Ukrainian military to deploy reserves for the defense of Artyomovsk, which has been prepared for carrying out the previously announced counteroffensive. Yesterday I made a video stating that, again, the leaks revealed an assessment. I think it was a military assessment, Pentagon assessment, or CIA assessment. I think it was a CIA assessment, stating that the most likely scenario in Ukraine is this. Due to the stalemate of the front, the Ukrainians will have to, how do you like that? Where is that? There you have it. Will have to conduct general mobilization of population, which will make the political forces very unpopular with Ukrainians. Therefore, there would be a change in the military leadership or political leadership, or I would say a civil war, as I said that many months back. And we'll see what's going on regarding the general mobilization. Is not necessarily because of the stalemate. They couldn't say it because the Russians are decimating the Ukrainians. Not because the Russians are better fighters, but the Russians are 145 million people, and the other ones, I don't know how many are right now. They were like 38 million, with about 12 million going overseas, if you know what I mean. Some decimated, some this and that. You know, they're kind of like we're done. And then what's going to happen? Push the Romanian button, maybe push the Baltic button, push definitely the Polish button, maybe the Georgian button, maybe put the, how do you call that, the surrounding former Soviet socialist republics. You know, create something that you start a new front. So let's go back and finish here. So it says that, however, the new reserves are occupying old targeted positions, leaving them vulnerable. To advance in the city, Wagner PMC employs semi-interception tactics. This is when Ukrainian units from one or two companies are enclosed in a ring and destroyed, and the area where the operation takes place blocked off. So is then blocked off, so the Ukrainian forces cannot quickly bring their reinforcement. These tactics have already begun to significantly increase losses for the Ukrainian armed forces and leads to an acute shortage of reserves. The number of Ukrainian soldiers killed and wounded since the beginning of April exceeds the number of reinforcements received. As the Russian armed forces advance on Artyomovsk from the flanks, north and south, more and more Ukrainian reserves are being killed on the roads between Shasir or Shasov Yar and Artyomovsk western quarters. When their supply lines is finally completely cut off, the Ukrainian group in Artyomovsk from Metallurg Boulevard in the north to Bakhmut Industrial College area in the south will face a choice: to fight until their ammunition is exhausted, or use the weapons they have left to attempt a breakthrough in order to retreat from the city. I read some articles coming from the real, true, objective mass media of the West, and they said that actually the Russians are kind of doing a better job on the front because they're more organized. That's not, they were using again those leaked Pentagon papers or whatever, intelligence briefings and assessments. Now, is this what these guys were talking about? No, the encircling small groups and then decimating them and then move on. They said, the good mass media said that through better organization and communication, the Russians are doing better on the front. Now, that's very strange coming from these guys here, but that means that things are, I would say, based on my experience with these statements and articles, 3 times worse these guys are reporting, and you know, sometimes 3 times better than these guys are, oh my God, the Russians are better organized. That means they must be fantastically well organized if these guys say that. And if they say, okay, the Russians lost 100,000 people, just divided by 3. Let's put it this way. So you got about 33,000. That's how I got to know. They kind of inflate or deflate according to how it's beneficial to their side, about 1 to 3. So 3 times up, 3 times down. You apply that, you will most likely be closer to what really happens. That's my direct experience. If you have a different theory, let me know. I can look into it and enhance my knowledge. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.